Hi, this is SomeColourMage. We are here with whatever is going on with the FFWiki Podcast. It's been yet again 3 months since we last recorded. This is a great pattern for us. um, with me today is Catuse.
Hello?
And also Miphares.
Hello.
Or would you rather I call you Mickey or...
Miphares is fine.
Okay. But anyway, we had to get off our asses and do an episode because a week ago was Final Fantasy XIV Fanfest 2026 in Anaheim, which means we got a bunch of news, which is a rarity, it seems, at this point. We go a long time without hearing much, honestly. So let me just get my notes. We can start from the top. Because as its first FanFest of another press cycle, they were showing off the new Final Fantasy XIV expansion, Final Fantasy XIV Evercold. And, at first I think this is partially predicted, partially not predicted, because I know a bunch of people who could read, who could read the story pretty easily and figured, it's definitely setting up to travel to different shards of Miphares. So, maybe it's going to be a Void expansion. We've been with the Void a lot recently. And then the trailer started, and it is this very Norse-inspired frozen wasteland. So, and also, shortly after FanFest was the release of patch 7.5, which started actually setting up a bunch of this. Over the course of Dawn Trail, we obtained a device that could be used to travel between different shards, and the Warrior of Light, by complete accident, manages to trigger it on its own volition. Surprise, Azam had definitely planned for this the entire time.
Maybe he forgot. Azem, they've probably forgot to tell Vina.
Yeah. And also, the Astion we saw in the last patch, Halmarud, showed up. And basically, her plan, she's going to continue the rejoinings. Because what's happened is that now with Zodiac and Heidelin dead, all the gods that were keeping the current state of Miphares as it was are gone. The planet reasserts itself, and the planet, when things say, why the hell is every soul on myself split into 8 different pieces? So it's going to attempt to rejoin itself, and unlike an Ascian-led rejoining, it will not bother to preserve any life in the process. This final rejoining will return the world to a primordial state, and everything dies. So we gotta do something about that. Preferably not what they're doing, because rejoinings still fucking suck.
Yeah. So from what it sounds like, from at least with the whole premise going on, does that imply that the elements like the fourth being filled with ice, is that like a reaction of the solstice beginning to happen? Like, is that what it's been implying? Because like they're saying nature is causing it.
It's possible. We don't have enough information. I have generally assumed that a lot of these shards are just very imbalanced to begin with, because it's not exactly a very practical idea of how planetary metaphysics should work, right? And every shard that we've been to has been completely screwed over by one element.
Right. And actually, I think there was, so back in like a Realm Reborn, maybe even this goes back to 1.0, there was this tidbit of lore of, there have been 6 umbral eras, one for each of the 6 fundamental elements.
Right.
And the idea being that each of these reflections is associated to some element.
Yeah.
And the corollary of that was, therefore, there will not be a 7th umbral era.
Yeah. That is kind of part of the setting of version 1.0. The people of Eorzea thought they were an effective end of history because every element had been used. There can't be any more Rumble eras. Not only was that presumption completely false to begin with, light and darkness still count. So cue the Umbral era of darkness. Also, Calyx is still around, and Calyx is like the funniest villain in the game at this point. Yeah, Halmuret's there. She's doing the whole mysterious actions shtick, which is also kind of funny because we know from the previous patch as well that she's secretly just a complete nervous wreck and is clearly just putting on an act. But also, then she summons Calyx. She summons the portal way too high. He fucking falls onto the ground, makes squeaking noises as he lands. God.
He was just
How
embarrassed
growing
after that.
So I had long been of the opinion that we need to have no more Ascians. If there are Ascians, they can only be like goofy comic relief villains. We're done with Ascians. And I think that she's a goofy comic relief villain.
Yeah,
but we're not done with her.
Yeah, I do appreciate that our villains are like basically the world's most evil fail girl and her pet squirrel. When we fight her, I hope she has an attack where she throws Calyx at us.
Calyx is her ad face. Just summons a bunch of them.
They already did the Calcibrina fights. They can't have a Calcibrina fight made out of Calyxes. Or maybe they can.
Yeah, so anyway, one more story patch for Dawntrail, which will probably explain how we managed to control this power to open gateways, because in the first time we used it, we just kind of opened a gateway to the void that only ourselves could use. The void is pretty easy to get to in any circumstances. But also we need to bring other people because the trailer also had Alphino and Estinian follow us, and then Estinian drop kicked a magical robot thing. So anyway, we'll still have more set up for that eventually in a few months' time. So the fourth has been largely overrun by ice. The planet's surface itself is a wasteland. There's magical giant things roaming the land. Civilization has escaped to floating islands. It's basically Heavensward 2, honestly. It does feel very reminiscent of the interaction between Coerthus and Ablathia's spine, where it's this unnaturally frozen land with large strings of floating islands above us.
I do hope that so I think there's something to that because like the part of the first that we go to, I think was supposed to be kind of analogous to Eorzea.
Yeah,
So,
Il-Meg is the equivalent of Coerthus on the first.
oh, I guess you're right. I was imagining, I was imagining that maybe Abalathia gets like, is that the part of the shard that's viable, or basically everything in that shard is unviable except the clone of Abalathia. But I don't know. This doesn't really seem to go anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. There's places that are very much equivalent to places, and most of what would be the Heavensward areas in Shadowbringers have. I'm pretty sure they've been destroyed in the Flood of Light, because the Flood of Light comes up very close to the borders of where you could go in a Realm Reborn, like even the equivalent of like Pagelfern is destroyed on the first. So you get like so you get kind of like the equivalent where the very southern part of Coerthus is open to you. That's Ilmec, but nothing else you can really go to. Um,
Uh, so when it comes to like the areas they've been showing in the expansion, wait, is this a good time to talk about this?
Yeah.
So a lot of people, well, from what they were highlighting is like we noticed that none of the areas that they've been showing lack snow, and the concept that they say in the in the teaser, is that man took to the sky. So it's likely that this may be an artificial, like maybe landmass in the sky. It looks like it's made out of crystal a little bit.
Right. Yeah, there was some fucking huge crystal spires around. Um, yeah, I do suspect we'll end up in the frozen wasteland eventually. One of those giant things is going to be a trial, absolutely. Um,
I
but
do hope that they get a bit more attention than Valigarmanda did, where he's like, your rivals have unleashed Valigarmanda. 5 minutes later, you and some murder hobos have killed Valigarmanda.
yeah, God, the pacing of the first half of Dawn Trail was kind of weird. Really, it manages to be too slow and too fast at the same time. Uh, yeah. So, God, what else is there? But yeah, I also suspect we'll probably end up in the wastelands at some point because the final zone is almost always kept a secret until the last minute. So whatever swing they're making for the ending, we're not going to know that until the expansion's out.
Yeah,
Um,
pretty much. A lot. I mean, a lot of people have been like suspecting that this is going to be a seven inspired one, like expansion. And but usually when they do expansions, they kind of mix up two games together. Like Shadowbringers was kind of like Final Fantasy III with seven in certain aspects.
and
Same
also
with
bits of 8.
yeah, with bits of eight, and also you had Dawn Trail being like 11 and 9, weirdly enough.
Yeah.
So I guess there is a possibility that they might be taking aspects of 7 and maybe either 13 or 10, mainly because of what we see with the one girl praying
Yeah.
and having her guardian. I'm not sure, but like like the creatures on the below kind of are sounding like they may be like a sin equivalent or like I guess a falsy equivalent, but I guess there's just me speculating,
Mhm.
being weird.
Yeah, I mean that also makes a degree of sense because like these giant elemental imbalances seem to just naturally create really nasty monsters you don't want to deal with, like the Void Scent from the 13th, the Sin Eaters from the first, the electric powered Doom Train from the 9th. uh, God, God, that'd be
That was
so
a great
funny.
boss concept.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, we made this electric powered weapon of mass destruction. It turns out when the world's covered in electricity, that just makes it more powerful.
Now we can't. We made a big gun and now we can't turn it off.
Sorry, we're gonna be getting Shadow of Colossus tier trials in the next expansion.
Yeah. Okay, so they talked. They This was like the longest keynote they've ever done, and there did turn out to be big reasons for this because yeah, the game's 13 years old now, and a lot of things that were introduced in A Realm Reborn have never really been changed, no matter how kind of dated they got. And the first example they gave was the end game gearing system. You've been spending about 12 years grinding elegant tomestones of poetics. And first thing they really announced, those elegant tomestones are now elegant tombstones. The system's dead. They're getting rid of it. Um, and
Yeah.
instead they showed this like progression screen that they mentioned is a work in progress, and I do kind of hope that is because honestly, that interface looked like the unholy love child of Final Fantasy XIII and the gacha game.
Yeah, it's like if Final Fantasy 13 like used the terminology of Fortnite, which to be
Yeah,
fair, might be better than incomprehensible Latin gibberish, but
yeah, but I like the incomprehensible Latin gibberish.
yeah, but consider we are both admins at the Final Fantasy Wiki.
um, Yeah, so the general idea is that a lot of systems do run on daily cycles. They want to change a lot of those to weekly and also be a bit more free form about what you can do. Nearly everything gives nearly everything will give some kind of points that so like level up your weekly reward track and that gets progress. And they're planning for these cycles to last 2 weeks. So if you can't get everything done in the first week, well, once you've done the next week, you can go back and finish that first week. And they've also shown that Savage might work a little differently. There was a tab about Savage gear on that screen that they did not explain yet. And they said that that's going to wait for Tokyo, so it'll be a long time before we find that out. Uh,
So
so,
one thing I want to speculate that's maybe overly optimistic. Okay, I don't want this to just be the dunking on Dawn Trail podcast because I like Dawn Trail, but
mhm,
like a big issue with Dawn Trail is that there's a lot of things that should have been side quests but are like part of the main story, but you can't make them side quests because you need them for world building, right?
right.
And nobody does the side quests because the side quests in 14 are stupid and pointless.
Yeah, and also since Endwalker, they made it so that the main story gives you enough experience to hit the level cap. So,
But now it seems like okay, if you're allowed to grind things that aren't just the boring ass expert dungeon, plausibly you can do like side quests or daily side quests or fates or something.
mhm,
And so you can actually do world building that is not just we drag you through a bunch of civilizations in the main story.
mm, right. Yeah, because like that is the main problem with the first half of the Dawn Trail MSQ. Because, like I said, it's simultaneously too fast and too slow. Because you need to do these parts where you're introduced to the area and explain what it is. Because that's kind of Wuklamat's job. She needs to know this stuff. But then you get to the actual problems, like Valagamanda got freed, or we need to go explore the Mamulja burial ground where all of the eggs of twin-headed Mamulja are buried, uh, and that happens very quickly.
Yeah, you spend significantly more time dicking around on the alpaca ranch
Yeah,
than you do fighting Salagar Panda.
yeah.
That and also the parade float from the
Oh
Hanu
God, the
Hanu.
parade float. And like
But
the
okay, yeah.
every expansion does start slow, to be clear. Like the bit before the first dungeon always tends to be kind of bad. Um like God, I remember feeling really aimless in Heavensward when you first go to the Western Highlands because I mean part of that is also because the time the expansion started and stuff I was exploring this like 7 p.m. being what am I doing here? But yeah, it is kind of like that every expansion. I feel like Shadowbringers is the only one that made that split half a lot more interesting, and that's even just for like the LSA half of it, because dear God, that is still one of the most horrific scenes in the game. The Tesline scene. um, uh, but yeah, Dawn Trail, Dawn Trail had that problem, but then it just kind of really didn't stop until Wuklamat and Koana were crowned the Dawn servants. It was very slow until the ending of that arc, and then the pace of the Alexandria half was fine. That was just completely normal story. But yeah, considering their general focus on you don't need to do the side quest, maybe that's where a bunch of details should be left to. I have no idea if they're going to actually do that though.
Like I said, this is very optimistic speculation. But
Yeah.
I do think that getting people to do things that aren't just, oh, you finished raiding, all right, let's get on voice call for 10 minutes and knock out this expert dungeon we've done 100 times before,
Yeah.
can only be healthy for the game, even if it doesn't fix everything.
Yeah.
They did say NPCs were going to be a focus for Evercold. They did do like a little slide about that, showing like all the different NPCs that we've met through the entire game so far. So I do think they might try to do something like that where they expand more on the world around you, but not have them, being jammed into the story where you have to like learn about moblins for like 3 hours.
Yeah. They also mentioned adopting a seasonal model, but it's really just kind of a terminology change because a season is equivalent to an item level cap increase cycle in the current system. So like major patch 0 and 1 will be a season, major patch 2 and 3 will be a season, etc., etc. It's not really it doesn't really seem like an actual change, and more just saying things. And
Investor lingo.
investor lingo, yes. And did also mention that after Endwalker and Dawn Trail slowed things down a bit, they do want to try and get patches coming out faster again. Which I guess makes a degree of sense, because one of the reasons things slowed down was COVID. And they sort of derailed that back half of Shadowbringers, and they instituted like their new working patterns to not only work with that, but also force their employees to take vacations. Um, so so, but as per usual, they've made the clear, hey, we want to expand the team stuff over and over again. So they're probably also starting to get big enough that they can do more work in shorter time. Hopefully, that that is something that often does not work, but considering the kind of roles that Creative Studio 3 often advertises for, sometimes it feels like they are missing kind of important things.
So at least from what I can tell, they're going to be needing a lot more, I guess, manpower on the gameplay side of things, considering the new battle modes they just announced
Yeah,
for Evercold.
we'll get to that. Yep.
So one thing that always strikes me about Creative Unit 3 or whatever they're calling themselves now is, even though it's a huge branch of an enormous multinational corporation, sometimes it feels like five guys. I know to some extent that's a marketing tactic, but if you believe what was claimed at FanFest, it is literally true that like most of the Arcadian songs were personally written by Koji Fox. But
Yeah.
what? You're the head of the localization team. Don't you have like other? I mean, and he does have other things to do.
Yeah. Like he's not just yeah, he's head of the studio's lock team. He does other things. He was the head translator at 16. He was the head translator of the Ivalice Chronicles. There are other things he's doing because there are other localization leads specifically for 14. That was Kate Kleiner for Shadowbringers through Dawn Trail, and I believe someone else has taken over now.
But the point that I'm getting at is, what, you can't like hire some like small time musician to like do all of this stuff for you. I mean, obviously they do hire people like that, but
yeah,
I don't know, the work life balance of a high ranking CBU 3 person externally looks extremely strange.
yeah.
I mean, this is pretty common for Square Enix though to have like their devs or like their localization team to like write lyrics for songs. Like Hiroyuki Ito did that for Final Fantasy IX's Melodies of Life, and Takashi Tokita does that a lot for his Dimensions games. So like it's pretty average, but like I still wonder how Koji is able to find time to do stuff like that.
Yeah, because like it's not just the songwriting. He also does things like scratch audio, because not just for the songs, but also whenever a dragon shows up, he has to do scratch audio because he's the only one who knows how to pronounce draconic in the entire company. And also, he just seems to just do a lot aside from the translation job. And I guess in some degrees, it simultaneously helps and doesn't help that English localization is part of world building in Studio 3's works. Uh, so at the same time, they're nailing down they're asking the translators to pitch things, which of course is how we got Nordthal, because Koji Fox looked at these gods and thought, how could I turn one of their names into a swear? And then you play Final Fantasy 16, get to the part get to the part with Odin, and Mid yells Great Grigor's Gash, and you realize, oh, they let Koji Fox do that again. um,
He has a signature style.
yeah. So anyway, they talked a lot about character customization. They really beefing up the character creator, removing basically any limits on color selection for eyes, hair, skin, etc. So you can now make the Shrek of your dreams in game. Improved a bunch of other facial features. Uh, the reward track from the weekly system is going to include stuff like new animations for actions, so you can customize those too. You have a piece of equipment, but you don't like a specific part of it. Like you got this nice coat or something, but it comes with a fuck ass belt. You can just tell the game to get rid of that. You can just hide individual parts of pieces of armor. Yeah, and
I hope I
yeah,
was
yeah,
gonna say, I hope when it comes to that kind of stuff, you can at least remove the little shoulder cape. Not the shoulder cape. I'm sorry. The waist cape that the outfit has from
yeah,
like the veteran rewards. Stuff like that would be
right,
actually neat to have.
right. And because, of course, this had to be brought up at any event where Yoshida interacts with a lot of people, no butt slider yet. Um, yeah. There was a Q&A session the next day where the audience eventually managed to browbeat him into asking the rest of the dev team about it, because, hey, Xenos has a fat ass, why can't we?
Here's the thing, though. Obviously, we got to have the boob slider.
Of
People want
course.
the butt slider, but where's the six-pack slider? I want my warrior of light is usually shirtless, dressed like he's going surfing with the Blowjob Brothers. Why he should be absolutely ripped. I mean, he's carrying around a 300-pound axe all day. But I don't think there's an option to like make him look like shirtless Chris Hemsworth or something.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. Like. I think every player character in the game is just kind of the equal level of not really that ripped. Um. Like you can see maybe a little bit, as long as you're not playing Lalafell, because Lalafell are basically just a flat surface in more ways than one. Uh. Again.
That
So,
everyone could be Godbird.
not everyone can be God, but yeah. I mean, the game can't even handle Goldberg. You know, we are informed based on NPC dialogue and stuff that Goldberg absolutely has a massive dick, but you would not be able to tell that from the character model. Uh, anyway, this bit was a bit vague, but they were talking about improving like the open world areas a bit. Uh, so well, you know, they want people to be able to interact with the game more without just relying on the duty finder and instances all the time, which, you know, fair enough. The world can be kind of dead sometimes, especially once everyone's moved on to the next expansion, because there's not a lot of stuff to do for uh, for older content that's worth continuing doing. Like like if you're not doing fate grinds for old relics, you like bicolor gemstone grinding, I guess. Um, or maybe finding shit for Blubrry or Beastmaster, which is coming soon. It's a lot of the time the open world just doesn't have anything to do, and they want to do something about that. Uh,
I'm trying to figure out how they would do that though. They were very, like you said, they were very vague about it. I don't know if they're going to take what the Chinese version did, the mobile Chinese version, where they started adding like bicolor gemstones like into the older zones, like
mhm,
the Realm Reborn zones.
right. Uh,
So one thing, I mean, this is not actually a solution to anything, but just as an obvious prerequisite, one thing is they probably need to cut down on the number of fates, because even if you're, I mean, some zones have a lot of fates, and you could imagine like getting very spread out. If you want people to, this will not fix the problem, but if you want people to interact with the fates and like do it collectively as a group, then there should not be very many fates, and maybe those fates can be more like interesting boss fights and not here. Let's gather 500 items dropped by these goblins.
right. Uh, yeah, as someone who has been doing those bicolor gemstone grinds recently, a lot of the fates are just bad. Um, like they're not they're not very compelling content. You know, it's basically just the same thing you could do if you were just walking around picking fights with random monsters, except there's a bunch more of them in one place. Um, like every so often you'll get this big boss fight that is introduced with different music and has like the single player boss theme playing, and that tends to be a bit better, but also it's still just like a single open world boss fight that can't really do much. Um,
I
uh,
wonder if they'll try to make it like a cult crescent and like try to have like the critical engagement stuff, like something similar to that, but also like making mobs actually more of a threat, but they
hmm,
drop like good items, or like they'll add like the bunny, like the happy bunnies into the to the open world segments. I don't know if they'll do something like that, but even something like having, I guess, what are those like duty actions, like how
hmm,
we have those different abilities in the open
right.
field actually could be very helpful too, to make the world, I guess, be a little bit better.
Hmm,
Anything better than just, guarding, just a bunch of boxes while you're getting attacked by like several beetles.
yeah, yeah. So other changes they mentioned, the 8-man raids will have an intermediate difficulty added because there's kind of a big gap between the story difficulty and the Savage difficulty, and it's a bit difficult to get people into Savage. So they'll add the third difficulty there. They'll also be adjusting how 24-man raids progress. And also have new types of battle content, but did not explain that at all, aside from saying that they're not getting rid of Ultimate. Um, uh, then player matching systems. Those are currently same data center. Those will be changed to be same region. So, you know, if you're playing on one of the American servers, you'll be able to do Duty Finder and Party Finder and such with all American servers, not just the group of 8 that your server is located in. This will mean nothing to me because I play on the Oceanic server.
I think
Oh
I
no.
think this is probably necessary because I think that anything worth doing on NA is done on Ether, and that was true when when Oceania was split off, and it's still true. Like 7 years later or something.
Hmm.
My static has a bunch of people from different DCs who the morning of raid, because you can't do this during peak hours, the game won't let you. The morning of raid, before they go to work, they data center hop to Ether so that they can raid. It's just kind of ridiculous.
Yeah. But yeah, that change will be trialed on the Japanese servers before Evercold comes out, and then will gradually be rolled out to North America, Europe, and also China. Apparently, like the Australian and Korean servers, I don't think. Well, the Australian servers definitely can't, but I don't think the Korean servers get any change from that either. Uh,
I wonder why, but I want to know. I don't play the Korean version of the game.
I mean, for starters, I don't think they. I mean, I assume there just isn't like a huge number because like the Korean servers are only for South Korea. So, uh, uh, like I mean, like the Oceanic server, and it's almost like a same deal in Oceania because like. Yes, there are other places around here that benefit from connecting to Sydney other than Anaheim or not Anaheim, Sacramento or Tokyo. But a lot of these places aren't big. The vast majority of the Oceanic server populace is going to be from Australia just due to raw numbers. Um, and we barely fill 5 servers, let alone the 9 that would be needed to have multiple data centers here. Yeah,
Yeah, that makes sense then.
yeah, yeah. So yes, two new jobs, neither of which has been announced, but one will be physical range DPS, the other will be main tank, which is a sort of subtype that we'll get to later when talking about the battle system changes. These are both original to Final Fantasy XIV. Yoshida was wearing a shirt saying "Guess who's back" with Retitan on it. So make of that what you will.
Magitech Knight, Magitech Elite, Terra.
They said original to 14, so um,
I
okay,
think it's Paladin with a gun.
that would be pretty good. But anyway, at the same time, every single job that is currently in the game, except for Blubrry and Beastmaster, is going to get reworked. This is the old system will still be in there for now. This is definitely going to go away within 1 or 2 expansions. I can tell. But every job will get evolved mode, which it's not like it's kind of a different job that is using like the same core ideas, but is designed to focus more on what that job is about. It'll have different combo chains and designed to have less buttons you have to use, while not lowering the difficulty of the job or anything. They had a big panel about this later that I'm sure we'll get to because I have the thread open of my summary of the keynote that I'm just going through. Um, so we'll have to get to that a bit later. But also, like, one problem with the game design in the last couple expansions is that like Endwalker and Dawntrail specifically worked on homogenizing the jobs. So, like Paladin, Warrior, Dark Knight, Gunbreaker, a lot of the time they don't feel particularly different. They just like animate differently. This seems to be a counter to that. They want to make it they want to make it more want to make each job feel more unique. One funny thing was like they were saying, like Street Fighter 6's modern controls. This is not Street Fighter 6's modern controls. This is actually completely different control schemes, not designed to make the game easier. uh,
I think they have to say this will not make the game easier like 1,000 times because people are dooming about this. But I mean, they're out there. If you have rated in Endwalker and Dawntrail, then obviously you would obviously see that their opinions are wrong. This is something the game needed.
yeah, yeah. The new jobs will not have the old schemes they designed from Reborn mode for the start. I'm actually surprised that also applies to. I'm also surprised that the Dawn Trail jobs have this change because Viper and Pictomancer do feel like they were already made under these like constraints, the fewer amount of buttons and such. Like, granted, I think a lot of people do not feel that Viper is particularly distinct from other melee DPSs, but the idea was clearly there.
Yeah, Pictomancer is the one I wonder about because like that I was able to fit most of my buttons like on a single hotbar.
Yeah,
I play on controller for one, I should
yeah,
mention that. And like half of my second hotbar only just maybe got taken by the roll actions. But that was just
yeah,
about it. So I'm curious on like how are Picto and Viper gonna change if like
yeah,
they're already basically evolved jobs at
yeah,
this point.
yeah. And like we do get an idea of how many buttons they want to put on things because like they compared like what hotbars look like for Paladin in these two modes, and the Evolved mode had 17 buttons. For reference, a controller hotbar has 16 on it. Um, And then they also said that, maybe there would be instances where you switch back to the old mode to Reborn mode, which is, while I get why they named it that, is a terrible name for the old version of something. This is legacy camera controls all over again. Um, but Evolved's going to be a little bit stronger. So, like, you can tell that they want to kill Reborn eventually. They're just not doing it right now. And in interviews after the fact, they're like specifically saying, "Well, it's because does anyone remember what's it called, Star Wars Galaxies, the Star Wars MMO that had its popularity completely collapse after they completely changed how the battling and progression system works? We want to avoid that." um,
Yeah,
so,
I get why they're keeping around Reborn mode, but Evercold's going to come out. Nobody's going to use Reborn mode, um, and it's just going to wither and die.
I bet there is going to be at least one instance where people manage to map out some kind of insane edge case where you want to bring Reborn to this one specific fight.
Probably, probably something like in top where you have to do insane things because there are too many debuffs and the system can't handle all of the buffs and debuffs on your hotbar. So you need to use a completely different game mode.
I'm just thinking about that now with ultimates. How is this going to work? Is it going to make ultimates easier or is it going to make them a little bit more challenging? It's very interesting, especially what we see from like certain jobs getting certain actions earlier now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So level cap is one of the things they're not reworking. They consider it, but they decided no, we'll just cap it at 110. So same as any other expansion, add 10 levels, blah blah blah. So some things aren't changing. Yeah, bunch of new stuff. there, as mentioned before, there will definitely be new ultimates, and they did talk about 7.5s, which had been hinted beforehand because of live letters, but the next ultimate raid's going to be Kefka. They have one battle designer on the crew who really likes Kefka. Did the previous fight against Kefka. Basically told Yoshida, "Hey, can I make Kefka again, please?" and so he's made Kefka again.
But he has a voice now.
Yes. Okay, I
Curious
swear
to
this
see
should have
that, though.
been said at this point, but I can't find it in my thread. In that, in order to sort of help, not having to gear up every single job at once, you can just make any job act like it has the best item level of any job equipped. So, like, if you need to optimize something, then yeah, you'll have to go and seek out specific gear. But uh, but for but like that means for Evercold, you don't really need to do any prep, any extra prep to be ready for Savage or anything. If you want to do multiple jobs, you can just bump yourself right up to your best item level, which is interesting because I think this is the first time we're really syncing up instead of syncing down, which I'm sure is going to create some really weird scenarios.
I wonder if this is like a measure to also prevent people from lowering down their item level in Duty Finder now, especially in Alliance Raid.
yeah. They have tried so much to make Alliance Roulette more palatable, and even in that one recent relic step that required doing the roulettes, most of the time Alliance Roulette was still mostly Crystal Tower raids. God.
No more, please. I'm so tired of getting hit.
But anyway, speaking of Alliance raids, so the incident that caused me to yell "What the fuck" at 5 o'clock in the morning. Um, so the Alliance raid. It's very often a sort of crossover-ish arc. So there's the Crystal Tower raids as sort of like a redo of the ending of Final Fantasy III, and you had like the Ivalice raids in Stormblood and Nier Automata in Shadowbringers and the Final Fantasy XI stuff now. And so like they announced what the Evercold Alliance raid series was going to be. And it was fucking Neon Genesis Evangelion. What the fuck?
Yeah, that caught everyone off guard in the at the convention center. Like so many people just screaming.
Screaming like positively or just confusedly?
Oh, positively. Everyone was just going, "What the fuck?" Just everyone just screaming like that.
Yeah, that's like, I mean, 14 does also cater to the age demographic that would be the most holy shit, what the fuck? As Evangelion.
Yeah, 14 is like a boomer game now.
I can't believe we're boomers.
We're all old here now.
Yeah. God.
I guess was it actually was it just speculation or was it ever actually confirmed that Yoko Taro is working on this since he was doing some other Eva shit?
It has not been confirmed that this is the thing that Yoko Taro is doing. It'd be fucking hilarious if that turns out to be the case, but it hasn't been said. I don't think it's ever been said what exactly Yoko Taro is doing with Evangelion.
I guess we'll just have to see. We have a few more FanFest left.
Yeah. Uh, they announced that system requirements aren't changing much, but at some point during Evercold, they are going to have to drop support for the PlayStation 4. And the reason for that is not because they're improving the systems or anything. The system requirements aren't going up, but the game is so big that sometime around patch 8.3, they will no longer be able to update the game on PS4. It is too big to install on the console.
Yeah,
So,
that is
so,
definitely going to be a problem now, for
so,
at
so,
least buying a PlayStation
they
5.
gave out the warning. You've got about 2 years before you have to change platform. And I know the PlayStation 5 is stupid expensive, but I can tell you, as someone who did this, you can just plug your PlayStation 4 controller into your computer. It works just fine. Like the game is designed to recognize all of the consoles that it supports within the within the PC version. If you know how to plug a 6-axis into your PC, I'm pretty sure that still works. Mm. Uh, yeah, then they talked a bit about stuff coming up in 7.5 and stuff. I mentioned the Korean version soon. That is catching up to global, because the Korean and Chinese versions of the game started behind. They have both been on a faster patching cycle to catch up. Korea, they're they're now caught up. The free trial, the award-winning Final Fantasy XIV with free trial, including Heavensward and Stormblood, now include Shadowbringers. There's a change made when patch 7.5 came out. They really just said one of the things that consider some of the best writing in the series. Yeah, we're giving that to you for free now.
You can just have a free $100 JRPG.
Yeah.
It's just kind of amazing that they're doing that. So that means, I guess, with 9.0, they'll expand to Endwalker. Then they'll just have like almost 200 hours worth of JRPG.
Yeah, God, and it'd be
Well,
kind of insane if they extended the free trial past that, because I mean, people already thought, oh, there's no way they can extend it past Stormblood. They want to hook you on the stuff that was the huge draw, and that includes Shadowbringers. And they're thinking, could they continue that past Endwalker? Because Endwalker is supposed to be the end of the original story. Dawn Trail and Evercold are a new story.
yeah, it feels like what they'll have to do, because Shadowbringers and Endwalker is basically one long story arc. So it's not crazy to cut it at the end of Shadowbringers and have this like huge cliffhanger.
Yeah.
But it feels like, well, okay, for one thing, it feels like they need to raise like the gil cap and stuff. But it feels like they're going to need to wait a few expansions and then cut it off after the end of Dawn Trail with a new cliff, because there ain't no cliffhanger after Endwalker.
Yeah.
With the new cliffhanger of Hamuro is here and she's got a plushie and she's going to cause the end of the world.
Yeah. We've actually had someone going through fresh on free trial in the FFWiki Discord server, and yeah, the 300,000 gil cap is definitely a problem.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah,
Recently.
They put a bunch of restrictions in there just because of how paranoid they are about botting.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Especially on low populated servers.
Yeah. It doesn't help that cross-region travel still only applies to 5 of the least populated servers in the game. like, I wouldn't want to be on the US servers constantly, because I live in Sydney. Sydney to Sacramento is consistently about 250 ping. Sydney to Sydney is about 5 ping. This makes a huge difference. This is why I play on these servers. Back before the last rework of Machinist, that change was enough to make the job playable. um, okay. So after talking about a bunch of patch 7.5 stuff, this is when Takashi Kiryu, the CEO, comes on stage, and he announces Final Fantasy XIV is finally coming to Switch 2. They'll be beta testing it around July or so, launching in August. However, it's kind of weird. They were definitely blaming Nintendo for this. A sub for the game does not include the sub for the Switch 2 version. If you have a sub for the game right now, that applies to PS4, PS5, PC, Xbox, just fine. It will not include Switch 2. But if you subscribe to the main subscription, Switch 2 will be 50% off. And that's just kind of fucking weird.
Yeah, that was definitely a Nintendo thing. I'm not surprised.
Yeah. It sounded like it was a deal to make it so that you don't need to be subscribed to Nintendo Switch Online. And I will say part of this is definitely Microsoft's fault because so it is Sony policy that a game that does not have an offline mode cannot require PlayStation Plus. So Final Fantasy XIV can be played without PlayStation Plus. If you do have PlayStation Plus, it gives you an extra free teleport destination. But if but it but you do not have to sub if you don't want to. If that's the only thing you do with your PlayStation, you can skip out on PlayStation Plus. Microsoft is not like that. You have to be subscribed to Game Pass.
Even for 14?
Yes, even for 14.
Oh, I did not know that. Ugh.
I have held before that a bunch of how the Xbox version works feels like a scam, and it is definitely Microsoft's fault because also if you only have an Xbox version registered to the account, you kind of have to do all payments and stuff through Microsoft's system instead of the Square Enix online store.
I can tell that's either a blessing in disguise or a bad thing, because considering how bad the Square Next Store font is.
Okay, that's true. But at the same time, Microsoft.
Very true, very true. I'll give you that.
Yeah. So that was the keynote. Later that day, they had the dev panel. They bring out the person who is behind the redesign of all the jobs. He started getting called Mr. Prime because one of the things on the list of things he's done is that he designed Construct 7. But also, this guy has been around since shortly after A Realm Reborn launched. The story is that he was a former journalist who actually during an interview with Yoshida about the game started talking about applying for a job there. But they also put out a list of what he's designed, and that included almost every job that got kind of inventive with how the game works. So he designed Ninja. He designed Astrologian. He designed Pictomancer. And he's also been the PvP guy. And this explains a lot about how evolved mode works. Because, evolved mode brings over from PvP that the one button combos. You press an action and it switches to the next action, so on and so forth. And also context sensitive actions. So they'll have taken two buttons that were in reborn mode, one of them ally targeted, one of them enemy targeted, and which one it does changes based on who you're targeting. Like the example they give is provoke. Well, provoke still works how it does if you target an enemy, but if you target an ally and provoke them, then it's shirk. And so you can really see a lot about how they managed to cut down all these jobs so that they mostly fit on one hotbar. And then they showed a few of the jobs, and holy shit, there was some stuff in there that was really interesting. It's like Paladin. One of Paladin's defensive abilities just has a counter now. You time it correctly, get hit by a big attack, you get a counter attack. If you time it near perfectly, you basically perfect parry that shit, get a stronger counter. Bards seem to like completely rework how its songs work. They've got a fucking dodge roll like move. Dragoon, it's like, so I want to just put a little background on something. A lot of melee jobs are built around positional moves, where things have more effect or higher power based on what direction you are attacking the enemy from. And more recent expansions have pared this down a bit. Like there'll maybe be like one big flank attack, one big rear attack. And then they show off Dragoon. It's like, yeah, your rotation now depends on hitting these three positionals. And not only have we, so like there's this back positional, and then there are specific left and right positionals.
I'm not going to be able to remember how to do all these positionals on Dragoon. Even when playing casually, I might just... Oh, wait, no, if I want to get my good ability off, I have to actually do them. So you literally can't just, wing it. You have to do them right to get your the full output of your job. So, like, that is very interesting. I want to see how people are able to do that, and if they're going to try this with all the melees.
Yeah, and also with like Dragoon, it's like, they show, okay, yeah, you still have like the huge combo string, and now and they're like, you remember how in PvP your limit break is the actual jump that you kind of expect Dragoons to have, where you just like disappear from the field for a few seconds and come crashing down on the enemy. We've ported that into PvE. That's now your big combo finisher. Except removing you from the battlefield was too overpowered, so instead you just take 90% damage reduction while you're in the air. Which I'm pretty sure is also still completely broken.
So basically, if you shirk your Dragoon, they could actually probably do a tank buster now, maybe. Just actually living up to be a floor tank now.
Yeah. And then there was White Mage, but I mean, it feels like a lot of White Mage hasn't changed that much. Like they put a focus on making it easier to throw out attacks, but most of the time they were still spamming glare.
Yeah, it seems like they want to make White Mage more like the Chinese mobile version, where like glare is their basic physical attack, but they like as they do more actions, like they'll get like a combo action, which is kind of like it's kind of like 1.0 again, where Stone and Stone Rub were combo actions, but now I think it's glare combos into high glare now. Well, glare goes into high glare.
Yeah. To be honest, it's kind of funny because, like, you could look at the damage numbers and tell that high glare isn't like a potency increase or anything. It just does the exact same damage. Like they're just varying up the visual effects so that your rotation when you're not healing does not look so one note.
Yeah, pretty much. But they did take away, from what I am seeing right now with the actual Evolved White Mage, they are taking out Glare 4 / Glarja to like be Holy Sanctuary, I believe it's called. And I've noticed that also heals. But it has 2 charges. That's the major difference. It's no longer connected to Presence of Mind.
Right. One thing that was also brought up is that area of effect attacks are not going to be significantly different from the single target rotation in evolved mode. Like nearly everything cleaves. So that's going to cause some interesting changes. You know, I'm over here being the black mage main. Like honestly, the area of effect rotation in Dawn Trail is not as fun as it was in Endwalker, because Dawn Trail Black Mage, it's like, yeah, you're just trying to cast Flare as many times as possible. In Endwalker, there were actually mechanics of like, hey, if you cast Fire High Firer while you're in fire mode, that will actually power up all subsequent flares. So like it was actually encouraging you to have sort of a proper rotation, like fire 2, fire 2, fire 2, then cast flare twice. Whereas here, like the rotation has been pretty simple: Blizzard 2, freeze, fire 2, flare, flare, flare star. Which is kind of really boring, actually.
You think they're going to get rid of Flare Star?
They'll probably keep Flare Star. You use Flare Star in the single target rotation too, and also since the removal of the timer on Astral Fire Rumble Ice, it's not that bad. It's
Gotcha.
Also the cast times are actually the cast time changes are actually kind of good for the job, because it does mean that you're not encouraged to save your swift casts for Despair. The Despair had a pretty long cast time, so like I know when I was playing, at least in high-end stuff in Endwalker, generally the idea was that once you're ready to cast Despair, that's when you pop a triple cast instead of saving it for movement, which is kind of the intention, because then you use a triple cast and then Despair, convert, fire 4 Despair. And that would be a marginal DPS game, because it gets rid of a lot of the time that you're locked down when the GCD has already finished but the cast time hasn't. But in current Black Mage, there actually aren't actions that are longer than the GCD anymore. So triple cast is strictly a mobility action.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I will say that Evolvo did concern. I mean, it's obviously concerning a lot of people. Like we said, like some people are worried about like simplification, especially with the combo actions being fused together. But like at FanFest, it like there itself, like the crowd, like the moment they mentioned all these changes, everyone just turned around, started talking to each other, and like there was no boos, no yays. It was just questioning, like like every time they announced a big change, it was always just everyone turning around questioning. And I think that's a better reaction than getting, you know, a bunch of boos on these ideas. So I think there are people who are worried, but at the same time there are people who are just like cautiously optimistic, I guess.
Yeah. There are like 20 jobs. Some of them are gonna suck.
Yeah, but like they did still announce a few things that are definitely good things. So like, yeah, they talk about these major changes. First of all, the 2-minute meta has been around since, I mean, there were parts of it around in Stormblood when they introduced the job gauges and stuff. Just very generic buff actions that were on a 2-minute cooldown, and at high-end gameplay, you wanted to stack as many of these as possible to get the biggest damage boost out of it. But then they mention, yeah, this was actually kind of screwing with fight design. We had to make bosses just stop attacking for a bit every 2 minutes so that you could actually get your burst off. So that's dead. 2-minute meta is gone, ripping piss. Almost every single one of these actions, the so-called synergy actions, are gone unless they are integral to your class's identity. So like a lot of the ranged physical DPS will still have them because that is part of the identity. I assume ley lines still exist, or maybe they'll just change that back to being 90 seconds. Because like one time when they're talking about the 2-minute meta, they said that Black Mage doesn't need to have it. Like ley lines can still be 90 seconds, and then they made it 120 seconds anyway. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that bit got a good reaction at least, because yeah, that was actually a serious problem with fight design that is getting addressed. The other really good important thing, a bunch of actions have been removed and reworked and such over expansions. So sometimes the low-level experience for a job is really bad. In evolved mode, your base rotation has been completely learnt by level 50. Anything above that is more about, certain extras or modifying actions or such like that.
So having your full AoE combo in like most dungeons is actually going to be a very nice thing when you're being a melee, having to deal with the main tank just the tank just pulling everything.
God, and I was talking about Black Mage earlier, and like actions not being longer than GCD anymore. So there is one exception to that, because Fire/Blizzard 2 and 3 are spells intended for switching between ice and fire. They have the thing where they are longer than the GCD because you're encouraged to take advantage of the if you're in the other mode, it's got half cast time, so that becomes fast enough that you can actually weave something into it. But before you learn Flare, which is level 50, Fire 2 is your main AoE attack spell. And if you're already in Astral Fire, that is like 3 seconds. And it feels slow as shit. As someone who has been doing the most recent Relic step, and the fastest way to do that was to spam leveling roulette, that felt bad. Yeah. But yeah, and the other big change was that the tank role now has two subdivisions. There's main tank, which is paladin and a new job. These prioritize personal defense over group defense and have stuff like counterattacks. And then you have the off tank, which is the other 3 tanks, and they prioritize group defense over personal defense. And I'm kind of surprised that Warrior's in off tank, because Warrior has always been very Unga Bunga, who needs healing? I am the healer. Which is which seems like a very main tank oriented class idea. But no, apparently that's an off tank.
I guess Shake It Off's going to be useful, like for group defenses as it always is, but like wonder if they're going to be able to like do something new with like Ness and Flash.
Hmm.
Oh wait, that's probably
Yeah.
gonna get fused into Bloodwetting now that I think about it. It'll probably be like the Provoke and the Clemency and Holy
Yeah.
Spirit being fused.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, oh yeah, God, I also had forgotten the second that like, yeah, tanks interject and low blow are now the same button. So like, punch in the face, punch in the dick, they're on the same button now. Which is honestly a bit of a weird one, but I guess at the same time, if you are using interrupts, you usually don't need to use stuns. So yeah, and
It's better than
the
having them being confused, which is something that always happens to me when I'm tanking.
yeah. I don't
right,
really understand why there's an interrupt and then there's a stun, which is like the same thing as an interrupt but non-situational. But it's situational anyways because so many enemies are immune to it.
yeah.
It's very strange.
Yeah. Like I guess from now on, if you see a cast bar and it's not inherently interruptible, you can just still try interjecting it anyway and see what happens. uh, so that was like the big announcements and stuff. I suppose we can talk about other stuff that happened in FanFest because Miphares, you were there. Um,
Yes, I was.
hey, you wanna talk about the experience or what have you?
It was fun. I did notice that there was a lack of a secret trial like they usually do at these fan fest things. There was more boots, I guess, for like the audio system that they use, like the headset and like other just like corporation stuff there. It
Mhm,
felt a little bit it was bigger, but the venue felt a little smaller. Not
mm,
the venue. The venue was bigger, but like the stuff they were offering there felt a little bit
mm,
like kind of low. But it was still a
right,
fun experience. You get to meet a lot of cosplayers.
mm,
The concerts are very nice to go to. I unfortunately did not get to go to the meetup to see Yoshi and the gang.
mm. Yeah,
But what can you do? But still, it's a very fun experience. The concerts are very nice, especially the Keiko piano one. I unfortunately did not get to go to the Primals one.
mhm,
Very sad about that. But other than that, like, yeah, it's a fun experience. If anyone's able to try to go, if it's in Anaheim and you live near it, or can afford to fly, definitely go. I suggest it. You get to be with the community, which is full of some of the nicest people you'll ever meet, and you get to have fun with meeting other cosplayers if you do that.
yeah, yeah. I guess also like what they have to do with the FanFest is a bit weird because Evercold is being such a large overhaul that they can't really have you know they can't really have dev builds of that out yet. It's not ready yet. We saw it during the dev panel. They haven't done any of the job pages yet. They
Yeah,
they had a bunch of bars and PlayStation default fonts. I know this because I have developed for PlayStation before. uh,
dang.
yeah, yeah, like a lot of that interface did remind me of the very basic interface we had for the thing that we were working on that was never intended to be seen by the public. um, Yeah. I'll and so I guess a lot of those things like an upcoming trial and such, they don't really they don't really fit yet because they're not ready to show gameplay built around it yet, or
Oh,
have people hands on with it.
yeah, but usually they have like the trials meant for the Hildebrand storyline usually on preview there, which
Mm,
is leading me to believe that this will not have one, unfortunately.
mm,
At least for 7.55, but we are seeing spoilers, I guess, but you're seeing Lich from Final Fantasy IX in the next Hildebrand quest line. So, I doubt he's a trial, but I guess he might be I guess an instance boss, possibly.
Yeah, I mean, doing a solo battle in Hildebrand wouldn't be too bad.
Oh no, Hildebrands are Queena.
Oh dear God. I mean,
Oh, that's gonna be fun.
this isn't the first time Hildebrand's been very heavily Final Fantasy IX, because there was also the Heavens Were Dark. Um,
Oh yeah, that is true. It was with the little Vivi, like
yeah,
yeah, the little Vivi guy.
the scene where like Vivi becomes like basically turns into a giant Rogodai and fucking grabs and power slams Hildebrand is still one of the highlights of the entire Hildebrand story.
I still remember that.
Yeah.
Just wasn't it Godbert that remodeled him?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Unga
Uh,
Bunga Vivi.
yeah. I cast first. um. Yeah. Uh. Yeah. Like a lot of the outside of those two panels we covered, a lot of FanFest really is just fooling around. You do sometimes get insights from whatever Koji Fox is talking about. So, like he's talking about songwriting this FanFest, and there were some lines in that panel like in the pins for our Final Fantasy XIV channel is kind of one hell of a line, which is everything in Final Fantasy XIV is about loss or sadness or BDSM.
It's true.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. Um, uh, also saw other members of staff desperately trying to pull as much lyrics as they could out of that one screen that had the lyrics for all of the last part of Arcadian songs, but covered up a bit, try to fill out as much as possible on the side.
I did manage to completely extract the lyrics of the mirror, and so the sinister one is just missing a bunch of stanzas. It's not that it's covered. Absolute Tyranny, it's sort of obvious what the lyrics should be, but some of them are covered. These songs are sort of unusual in that they were like actually comprehensible, except for the part of the mirror where Koji's like pretending to be red hot and is rapping.
Wait, there's rapping in that song?
Yo, Deep Blue ain't living unless you're living on the edge. We're saying no, you won't be free unless we take you. Get one chance, y'all, and that's all. Find a way. Let's break and ride, and let's ride.
I never noticed. I'm just too busy
Nobody noticed. It sounds kind of like incomprehensible gibberish in the actual in the in-game version.
But yes, you are right. A lot of the songs in this tier were very comprehensible for the most part. I think just 10 was the only one it's 10. 10 was the only one I really just didn't understand. I guess that's a good thing. A majority of the songs from the previous ones I didn't know, except was it Be My Honey? Speaking of which, that was a very fun rendition that they had at FanFest with Keiko just doing the extra sound effects going. She is so adorable.
Yeah. I'm sure bits of the concerts will finally get out there eventually, because they're paid extras even if you're just watching. They're watching from home, and that stuff leaks eventually. There is plenty of time. We've seen plenty of clips out there of throughout all of the fan fests of whenever Soken would show up and ruin one of the concerts with his otamotone.
Yep. He did do that during the Tyrol night theme, which caused Keiko to just stare and Matt to just bring him back afterwards and carry him by the collar, saying, "What do you guys think of this? Woo! See, this is why he keeps coming back out because y'all encourage him." It it's always funny when Soken gets to have fun at these things.
Yeah. Um, uh, but yeah. What else is there to talk about? I had managed to forget that they had somehow got Iron Mouse for like the songwriting panel.
Yeah, I
And
don't really know why she was at the panel itself, but the concert was good.
yeah, the performance was pretty good. I Okay, I gotta be honest. When you have a bit you want to do that you're not completely sure of, you probably should not write it in there twice. So talking about Koji Fox's joke about the incredibly bad graphics using AI. Like, it's obvious he was lying because the first time he did it, he basically used it to throw Takashi Kiryu under a bus. And like, hey, this is what the CEO wants, right? Blah blah. But 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 like, it fell flat the first time. It fell flatter the second time.
Yeah, the first time I thought was sort of funny. The second time I was just confused.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think a bunch of other people were confused too, because like I know Nova Crystalis's live tweeting of that panel took that bit entirely at face value, which, like, no, that'd be weird if he made the obvious joke that was so bad that you can't tell AI to do that on accident, and then he actually used it later. Like, that would just be weird.
Wait, they
Um,
actually used AI there?
I don't think they did. I don't think he did. Like the
Okay.
first one, like the first instance with like the screen of all the artists that have worked on the Final Fantasy XIV OST, where it's just like the same person 12 times with different hair. You can't make AI do something that bad on accident. That's basically something that you have to deliberately give bad instructions to get to do something that resembles that. That's actually something that's easier to do yourself as a shitpost.
Oh, gotcha. I will need to look at this later. I probably missed that.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and and like the other thing with like the video to try and show like the pacing of the song and stuff. Like, I mean, that's something that you I mean, also, I'm not sure if the tools he mentioned could actually do that, because he said Copilot, and I don't think Copilot does video like that. Um,
I wouldn't know.
I,
I don't use Copilot.
I'm a software engineer. I have to know some of this shit, and I hate it. Um, uh, People will tell you, oh, but Claude Code is really good for programming. If it's anything like any other LLM there's easy access to, no, it fucking isn't.
It's the least demented of a lot of demented options.
Which is a very low bar.
Yeah, I'm sorry. This is totally off topic. When Copilot first came to Windows 11 for reasons unknown to me, I decided to experiment with it, and I was like, it actually knew who I was, and the reason, and from this, it just like I asked, who is my real name, and it read my CV to me, and I was like, this is a feature.
I mean, it would be nice if some of this stuff could work consistently, but like, it doesn't. Uh, I mean, ignoring the flagrant violations of copyright law, and that they're really bad at resource generation because uh at resource usage, because like, this stuff has been exhausted fair enough, fair enough. But I'm a software guy, so I actually look at this thing as a software thing, and it's like, if random generation is not the point of your program, then your program should be returning consistent results every time. AI can't do that. It'll ask it the same question multiple times, and it will rewrite its answer every time. It will probably at least once get that answer wrong. That 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 just kind of violates inherent concepts between good software design to me. Um,
Yeah, I get what you mean.
like, and like, also, when you can't do that, the best you can do is fail gracefully. AI has a tendency to have fucking nervous breakdowns, which, I mean, is great if you want to pretend that it's a human when it isn't. But it is not great to have. It is not, in fact, great to give your programs anxiety. And I know a lot about failing gracefully. Like I said, I've developed for PlayStation. I developed Disney Plus. That's the thing I've worked on. And there is so much in there that is error handling because streaming is unpredictable. That sometimes you get really shitty files. Sometimes your connection hiccups. Sometimes you are faced with a platform that is not really well designed and can't actually handle stitching together video by itself. You need to be able to, if you can't get it to work correctly, you need to at least get it to error correctly. And AI can't do that. It can't figure out something's wrong, so it will throw a tantrum and think that's the correct response and return that, and that's how you'll get stuff like Google's inbuilt AI mode in searching start off as something and then add shit like one Reddit user says kill yourself, or just devolve into a giant string of numbers.
Okay, I'm sorry. That was just good.
So anyway, that's the rant on why modern tech is bad from a guy who actually works with said tech. God. But yeah, what else is there?
Jollibee.
Oh yeah, Jollibee.
Fucking Jollibee. And we went to, so my wife is from the Philippines. We went to the nearest Jollibee the day that the Jollibee promo started, and there were several. Basically, the entire store was full of, okay, these people are clearly couples. Clearly, at least one of them is Filipino, and it's obvious from either the clothes that they're wearing or the conversation that they're having that they all play Final Fantasy XIV. So Jollibee got a lot of business out of this, except not the Jollibees in the Philippines, which were not part of this promotion.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, you would think that this would have to be on. You would think that this promotion would be on the Oceanian servers or wherever Filipino people play. I don't know, but actually, it's only on the NA servers, and Jollibee in NA is only in a few cities in California and in California. So it was very weird.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
Yep.
part of the thing is that while Square will never really stop you, they do act like the Final Fantasy XIV is only available in countries that it officially supports. So this game is available in Japan, South Korea, China, France, Germany, the UK, / Ireland, Australia / New Zealand, and that's about it. The reality is obviously that that they don't really place any restrictions on it, except for places where they're legally restricted. But they do kind of pretend that they only really support locales that they officially support. And Jollibees isn't in Australia, so
I think there's only one.
Yeah.
But like I don't know where though. Yeah, there's a few Jollibees. There was one near the convention hall, which kind of turned into a mini 14 meet and greet.
And that one was like decked out. I was seeing pictures of that. That one was like decked out with 14 stuff.
Yep. And you had the infamous image of Soken meeting the Jollibee bee, looking like he's about ready to have his soul devoured. They also did have an official cosplayer there of Jollibee Lovely, a Honeybee Lovely version of that. A Jollibee version of Honeybee Lovely, which was interesting. I thought it was fan made, but then after I found out it was official, I was like, "Oh, this is a thing." Glamour when, because it was actually a really nice costume.
It's got to be dangerous to have Soken around an official Final Fantasy XIV fried chicken collaboration.
Yeah, we've seen what he's done in Japan. He loves fried chicken. He's talked to us on the Square Enix music server, like back when it first opened, and he's like, "I love chicken."
Yeah, God, there was also this one post that I saw from the FanFest. Like, there's a normal business conference right next to FanFest, and after the concert let out, this Emmett Cell cosplayer got surrounded by businesswomen, and they were squeeing and yawing as he showed them his Ashen Sigil prop.
Yeah, a lot of them were entertained by the cosplayers there. Like, I was dressed up like Speen, and just like a lot of them were just staring at me saying, "Oh, your cosplay's nice." I'm like, "Oh, thank you." A lot of people were very just like enthused to see like what people were dressed as.
Yeah.
It was like a feminist seminar, and I think a physical therapy seminar too.
Damn hot combination. Yeah. I don't think there's really that much more to say about the FanFests, honestly. Was there anything else we even had to cover? Because it's been 3 months since the last time we recorded a podcast. I don't think there's been a lot of big news, actually.
I guess more of the Vision shutting down in Japan finally.
Yeah. Okay. Like, I mean, I think everyone knew that one was going to fall apart eventually. Because, like, oh god, the XVS series was in the hands of people who don't seem to know what they're doing. Which, to be fair, Square Enix Gacha never knows what they're doing, but sometimes they commission to companies that also have no idea what they're doing.
Yep, that's definitely the gummy SE combo.
Yep.
I mean, War of the Visions is technically 14 now, I guess, with those Mog Station costumes.
Yeah. Yeah. Celebrate dead game with these outfits. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god, them releasing the actual official merch the day after they announced the game was getting shut down.
Yeah. But hey, that's money they can spend on real projects, like how when Takashi Kiryu was on stage announcing the Switch 2 version stuff, and he's also like, "Hey, yeah, Yoshida's been pestering me to give 14 more money. Fine, we're giving them more money."
Yep.
I I mean, look, we're not gonna say that Yoshida's decision processes are perfect. After all, there are plenty of things to say about Final Fantasy XVI that don't quite work. But I mean, if Yoshida is becoming Shadow CEO, that seems like an improvement.
I mean, yeah, Yeah, it would be nice to have someone like Sakaguchi back. I
Yeah,
mean,
but if he's on the job, he can't get drunk in Hawaii.
that is true. That is true. I mean, he did get Sakaguchi to come back a little bit though for Fantasian.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, God, I still love that one time where like they're doing like Final Fantasy XIV New Year's messages, and they had a video with Sakaguchi, and he just like gets out and downs a glass of champagne.
Yeah, I mean, he has a tendency to drink a lot. It's very funny. He even has shown up to official Square Enix stuff just drunk. He even admitted it on his Twitter once.
Yeah, that tracks.
Slightly concerned.
Slightly concerned, yes.
I think it was for the Pixel Remaster one. I think it was just like the interviews he was doing with like what's her name? Kazuko Shibuya, like, and some of the other devs there at Square Enix, and he was just saying like, "Oh, I don't remember that. I was drunk."
I guess, okay, to be fair, if I had to go to the Pixel Master announcement, I would probably be drunk too. Like, there is not much you can say about it other than a bunch of fans are going to be mad about some trivial thing.
Also, a bunch of it really is art stuff, and you already had the artist there. So what more can Sakaguchi add? You know?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, then let me actually just check out front page. Surely there's something else that's happened in the past 3 months.
I mean, the new Dissidia game came out.
Oh yeah, it's Wellham.
Gaia's in it. That's probably all there is to say about it.
I guess Riku's there finally in a Dissidia game. But I really can't comment on that. I don't play Duel, unfortunately. My phone will overheat if I try to run that a lot.
I personally am not touching another gacha.
Yeah, I'm still on Record Keeper.
Yeah. Ever Crisis is so bad, man. Um,
Yeah, with Evercold coming out, this kind of just killed the theory for everyone that 7 Remake Part 3 was coming out around that time, but I guess it won't be after all, like everyone suspected.
yeah, I definitely thought that they were aiming for the 30th anniversary, but like, I can't imagine them putting Evercold and 7 re whatever in the same month.
Yeah, no, and as we learned from the Final Fantasy IX, quote unquote remake stuff, anniversaries are never a date that they hold that important.
Speaking of which, it's Final Fantasy X anniversary song now.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't know what to think.
Like that one doesn't even so much need a remake as hey, we actually updated the model so that they can show facial expressions now. Like, I mean, 10 HD is fine in a lot of ways, but they definitely lost a lot from the animations.
Yeah, from what I've heard, that apparently they're based off the default models, not the actual cutscene models, but that's just speculation.
Yeah.
It would be nice to get an upgraded version of the remaster so the models would be good.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, anyway, I think that is roughly everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I, if we were like a few weeks into the future, we could talk about the new World Race drama, but we don't know what it will be yet.
oh, who's going to get in trouble? Is it going to be NA, JP, or EU?
Or China.
Yeah.
It's not going to be OC. They're on Ether.
Yeah. 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 But yeah, I mean, China should be caught up now, so they should be part of the first race for Dancing Mad Ultimate now. So
That's going to be interesting to see more people part of the world race.
like I'm prepared for some wild shit.
I wonder what Kafka's going to turn into, considering the fact that he already has Final Fantasy VI's Warring Triad clearly. What happens if he gets to absorb the 14 version's Warring Triad?
Oh my god.
Double Warring Triad! Crusader? Nah, I'm thinking too much.
Okay, but now I'm thinking of the music as like, oh damn, does this mean we need an orchestral rearrangement of Sephiroth's theme?
It seems like they're using the Distant Worlds theme for the final phase, though, for
Right.
Dancing Mad Ultimate. So,
Well, that makes
uh,
sense.
I guess you're going to be able to get that as a orchestrion role now.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I'm sure we'll be back in like July, August after the next FanFest. Or
Oh
maybe
yeah, it's in July, right?
yeah, the
Oh boy.
FanFest Berlin is 25, 26 July. FanFest Tokyo is October 31st, November 1st.
Ooh, we get to be up late for that one.
Well, you do.
Don't remind me.
Gee, maybe the reason why I often end up being the news guy is because I'm like 2 hours off from the time zone that most of the people we have to cover live in.
That is true. I keep forgetting about that. It's kind of the same thing for my girlfriend. She's in I believe Victoria.
Right.
I can't remember where exactly, but she's somewhere in Australia.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, a lot of this hasn't really been a big podcast episode because I mean, I'm sure people have noticed it's kind of been 3 months between recordings for multiple episodes in a row now. We have no idea what's going on anymore. The previous episode is not even on Blubrry yet. I have no idea what's going on. I'll just post this on YouTube like later today or something, I guess. But anyway, we will see you the next time there's something to talk about, I guess.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Bye.